Hello students, and welcome to step 1 of chapter 6. In chapter 6 we're going to cover validation because you want to make your HTML pages compliant so that you know that the browser will know exactly how to handle your code, okay, and it'll display it exactly as expected. So this chapter covers validation. So the first thing we're going to do is make sure you unzip the Lounge file that was in Blackboard, and then open lounge.html in a browser. You remember this one. This is just another copy of the Lounge website that we finished in the previous chapter. And then open it also in Notepad. I'm going to use Notepad++. So here's the code that created that page. So what we're going to do now is you'll notice that in the root folder there's a file called doctype.txt. Open that up. Now you'll notice that at the top of the page it has a doc type. This is what's referred to as document type definition. You put this at the top of every HTML page and it tells the browser which validation service it's using. So let's highlight these two lines, copy them, go back to lounge.html, and the document type definitions needs to be at the very top of the page. So I'm going to paste it here. Control S, and if I were to refresh the browser, I would see no changes. This doesn't affect the page at all. This just tells the browser which validation service we are using. Okay? So now, what I want you to do now is I want you to do the same thing for the other HTML pages. The other HTML pages are directions, so we're going to open that in Notepad. And we're going to paste that as well to the top of the page. And then finally we're going to open up elixir.html in Notepad and paste the doc type at the top of that page as well. Okay, make sure you Control S each page. Alright, so now that we have all of this set up, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go to the validation service W3C. W3C stands for World Wide Web Consortium. They're the ones that make the rules of the World Wide Web as far as coding is concerned. So I'm going to open a browser. I've saved the validator as a favorite, and you're probably going to want to do the same thing because you're going to be using it a lot in here. So I open up the validator. And there are three ways you can input. You can input from an actual URL, but that has to be a web page that's on the internet. We're not doing it that way. You can do it from file upload, which if you want to do file upload and upload the entire file. But we're going to do by direct input. Okay? So we're going to do that by direct input. So what we want to do is we want to start with Lounge. So I'm going to go to Notepad++. With lounge.html open, I'm going to Control A to select all of the code, Control C to copy it, paste it in the validator input window, Control V, and then check for validation. Okay? It says I have one error. Error found while checking this document as HTML 4.01 transitional. So we have an error. So if we scroll down a little bit in the page, we see where our error is. Our error is right here with the image file. Okay? So what we have to do here is, in order for pages to validate on the W3C page, we have to use the alt in our image tags. So I'm going to go back to the lounge.html, find that image tag, which is right here. Okay, and then I'm going to use alt equals, open quote, drinks. And the close quote is already there. Control S to save my changes, Control A, Control C. And we're going to revalidate to make sure it works. So I'm going to go back to the top of the page, go back to the validator, go back to validate by direct input, paste my new code here, and check it, and it should be green. And there it is. This document was successfully checked as HTML 4.01 transitional. So this is going to end step 1 of chapter 6. Thank you.